it's central to Pat Gelsinger's plan to have Intel not only produce its own chips, but to expand its market opportunities by producing chips for other companies. The reason why some kind of a separation or a further separation might make sense is because if, who is Intel going to go after as a customer? The answer is a lot of the companies like the NVIDIA, like AMD, that are already, frankly, its biggest competitors. So why would they give Intel business? Well, if it's no longer part of Intel, maybe it becomes more attractive as a manufacturing partner.
I mean, Ian, is it safe to say that splitting up the Foundry from the rest of the business would be the nuclear option? What are they considering short of actually doing that?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I mean, we should be clear here that everything that we mentioned was within the context of this being at a very preliminary stage. Pat Gelsinger was speaking at the Deutsche Bank conference yesterday, and it's clear that for now he's going ahead with the plan that they have. But there are other options along the way, such as spinning off some of the other units, such as dialing back the investments, which they've already really done, and not going ahead with some of the factory projects that they've announced.
I am curious. I mean, this is a company, of course, that had a great deal of government money committed to it as part of an initiative by the Biden administration to try to onshore more of our chip-making capabilities. How would a potential spinoff, and again, this is obviously hypothetical at this point, but if they were to do something like that, separate from this company, does that affect in any way the deal they have with the government?
100%, but what they're doing already affects the deal they have with the government. As a taxpayer, we should be happy that what the Commerce Department has done is say, yeah, you can have this amount of money, but you have to meet milestones along the way. You have to build a plant. You have to get the first wafers out. You have to get all of these signposts that Intel has to pass before it actually gets a dime, and that's already in place. So whatever the future is for this set of factories, that's kind of in place, and what it does will determine how much it gets rather than perhaps who owns it.
And Ian, I'd love to just sort of step back here and talk about how we got to this point, because you think about Intel, it's really been quite a fall from grace when it comes to their position in the competitive landscape, and it's kind of amazing that we're even, talking about this news, that the fact that Intel is discussing its options with bankers right now. How did we actually end up here?
I mean, it's reassuring that somebody as young as you has that perspective, because I thought it was only old people like me remembered this. Yeah, no, I mean, as long as I've been covering the chip industry, which is, more as Scarlett likes to point out, multiple decades, Intel has been by far the most dominant company. And more immediately, as recently as 2021, it was 3 times the size of NVIDIA in terms of revenue. So that's abrupt. The problems that it has and how we got here really came under Gelsinger's immediate predecessors. They scaled back commitments. They made the wrong technology choices. Pat Gelsinger, not whether it's sympathy or not, was put in a difficult position, came in with an ambitious plan, and unfortunately, the money that's required to bring that plan about just isn't there anymore, right? So, and that's the situation we're in.
All right, so to kind of wrap this up, Ian, I mean, give us a sense here of kind of what's the next step here. I saw in the reporting that you did that there is a board meeting scheduled for sometime in September. When do you think we might actually hear something publicly from the company about its long-term plans?
Yeah, I mean, that's to be decided. I think, this board meeting, as far as we understand it, is not the kind of make or break, decide on the absolute future of Pat Gelsinger and Intel in one day kind of thing, but they will consider a range of options. I think what will determine how quickly this goes will be how the financial situation progresses, whether Intel feels like it's going to run out of money for the absolute largest extent of these plans quickly enough. That will really determine the path, and they really need a win. They really need a big customer, and that might cause hope, and that might cause them to stay the course.